Hi everyone, I'm Lamont Key, and for my second course share, I wanted to find an app that immersed students in culture and current events. I've been thinking a lot about the use of different apps and language websites for learners at different proficiency levels, and I searched for an app that provides intermediate language instruction. I had originally found News in Slow English, and a few podcast episodes were released back in 2017, but I guess that Linguistica 360, which is a US-based company, decided to instead teach English speakers other foreign languages. I wish they had more languages from other parts of the world, but they do offer current content in German, Italian, French, and Spanish with both the Spanish and Latino dialects. News in Slow Spanish is accessible through web browsers and mobile applications on Android and Apple devices, and also through a number of podcast apps. However, as shown on the Linguistica app website, I did not find the app to be available without sign up. Although there's a bit of free content provided on the website, the subscription models offered are not free. And for this reason, along with a few negative reviews about the app performance, I decided to focus my review only on the website content. However, you can get almost all of the audio content for free through the podcast apps. Also, in 2018, Linguistica 360 partnered with Cognella, an academic publishing company, which offers 3 imprints for student-centered higher education learning. This language site primarily serves older auditory learners through news podcasts available at beginner, intermediate, and advanced levels. They also offer a number of series ranging from topics like fiction, festivals in Latin America, music, and more. There are more traditional type grammar exercises available, and there are also a number of rooms where students can sign up and speak live with other members in the community. And when a room is filled up, you can still join and listen in. I really like this offering. You can see that they convert the time zones for you already. And they have different beginner levels. Here's a level 3 that's 75% in Spanish, has some spots available. Beginner 2 is 50% in Spanish. And beginner level 1 is 25% in Spanish. So these are great opportunities for students to collaborate with one another. Now let's take a look at the main learning activity, which are the podcasts. And if we open one up, you can see here with a full paid subscription that reading and speaking are supported language skills. Writing is not. If we go ahead and start playing an episode, you can see here that we can advance the speed to 1.5 or a student can lower it to 0.5. The default is set at 1.0. Also, as you go through and read, you can see there's a hover feature included. So students can get an instant translation for some of the vocabulary words. There are nice graphics included for each of the current event articles. And as you can see here too, flashcards are available for download. PDFs, transcriptions of the articles are available for download, but the audio is not available for download. The formats for the intermediate podcast and the advanced podcast are pretty much the same. One interesting observation I made, I feel like the topics included on the intermediate and advanced levels are just a little bit more controversial. I know there's always like controversial things in the news, right? But this is kind of an interesting observation that I noticed. Also, in the advanced podcast, the pronunciation practice is not available. The grammar activities are more of what you would think of for standard grammar exercises. We can go into one here. And you can see an introduction or warm-up activity where they show said or estad, and then they have the forms of the verb conjugated throughout the introduction, and they're bolded. Also, the vocabulary hover feature is there. Code switching between Spanish and English is also included, and this happens less and increases in more Spanish as the degree of difficulty progresses. Next, we move into the lesson itself. Said y estad are introduced. They're explained. It shows the pronouns for both English and Spanish with the verb conjugations. It also, does that for both estad and said. It shows the verb forms and how they're used in the interrogative form, and it gives a little reminder, takeaway for kind of the difference of how, like, when you would use estad and when you would use said. Next, a story is read, and students with a full subscription can read along, use the vocabulary features, use all of the downloads. A student with the audio version can listen along only, or someone who wants to access the material for free can get all of the grammar lessons through the podcast app. This is a perfect opportunity for a teacher to encourage students to app smash, show them how to do it, save themselves some money. I also noticed that there are educational discounts where a number of licenses can be purchased together for classroom use. Next, there is a reading comprehension quiz in English. And last, there's a pronunciation exercise where students can, play the sentences, they'll hear the sentences, and then they can record themselves for playback, repeating the sentences to see how they sound compared with native speakers. And that's about it for the News in Slow Spanish language site review. Overall, I like the site. There's a blend of kind of a more traditional pedagogies with individual learning activities, and also more of the collaborative pedagogies to support student language acquisition. Thanks.